When I step out of my usual busy routine to make a podcast, it takes me time to adjust my head, to pause, slow down, and tune in to the role I'm undertaking. And if that change in balance and behaviour is needed when I record a bit of audio like this, it's absolutely vital when we're holding effective conversations with live human beings. Today, we'll be talking about the coaching mindset. Hello, and welcome to this podcast from Management Futures. I'm Hugh Reynolds, Head of Learner Experience and Engagement, and today I'm joined by my friend and colleague, Tim Cox, MD of MF, and a true master of skills that can be used not just by coaches, but by all sorts of managers and leaders who are keen to grow and empower their people. So, mindful of your time and what's in Tim's mind, let's get down to business. I started off by asking Tim, why does mindset matter in coaching? So Tim, hello, welcome to Bristol. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well, thank you. It's a beautiful day in Bristol.
It is, it's a very hot day in Bristol, and I'm glad that we've taken refuge in the delightful environment of Hum Studios. We're really pleased to be here with Hugo and Dom, recording this in a more sort of interesting setting for our viewers and hopefully our listeners too, because I think it's going to have some impact on what we're going to talk about, perhaps.
Yeah, and it's a nice comfortable sofa.
It is. I don't know if I'm ever going to be able to get back out of this sofa because it is so comfortable.
Well, we'll stay here together then.
So Tim, we've done things before, like talking to each other, talking about ourselves, talking about other projects and initiatives and things like that. And today what I had in mind was that we talk about mindset. So we talk about the coaching mindset and what we then do with that. And if we've got time, as I think we will in the second part of our discussion today, I'd like to get behind us as a team and us as people that help others to understand that mindset. Does that sound okay as a flow, a rough flow?
Rough flow's good. Yeah,
fantastic.
Rough flow. I'll flow with you.
Thank you, Tim. So let's start with that mindset and some of the specific things that you want to convey to people when you're talking to them and encouraging them to get into that mindset. Why? It's not a coaching question, but why get into that mindset?
I think if we're talking about helping people to become more adept at taking a non-directive approach, more adept at using a coaching approach, then I think one of the most important things you can do is the mindset. Is, you know, in the same way that if you go into a meeting and you go into a meeting clear about what you want to achieve and how you want to be in that meeting, you're far more likely to be able to inhabit that and get what you need from the meeting and be even more present. So having the right mindset to go into a coaching conversation is really important. I think it's a fundamental, really, because if the mindset's not there, then all the skills in the world are going to be undercut in some way.
You've been doing this for many years and you're a top coach. Do you still need to think about that mindset? Do you need to actively get yourself into that mindset?
Yes, is my answer. And I know there was a pause when I got there. I think as with anything, if you practice it day in, day out, year in, year out, you'll be more adept at it. It will become more natural. And yet, you know, when I am deliberate with it and I'm intentional with it, I think I'm better in service of the people that I'm working with. So I would say yes. I would say though that perhaps I don't always do it as intentionally as I should.
And I'm interested in the things that sit behind the mindset. Yeah. So I know you've been working on ways of articulating this mindset to people and the clients, the organisations, the teams, the individuals that we support. So I'd like to look at some of those aspects of the mindset. But first, we've got a little slogan that I'm really interested in that sits around these principles of the mindset. And that slogan, as I understand it, is we care and they own it.
Yeah.
So what are they owning?
Yeah. Good question. What are they owning? So they're owning the issue or the challenge or the opportunity that they might bring to a conversation. They're owning the actions that they may have taken previously or will take afterwards. It remains theirs to own. But we do care about the situation that they might be facing or that they want to talk about. So I think it's really important, and certainly for a leader or a manager who's trying to take a coaching approach, that's a really important piece to remember. All too often, somebody might arrive, or you might bump into them in the corridor. You know, the corridor conversations that happen, and somebody will say, "Look, you know, this is an issue at the moment, or I've got this. How am I going to get past this? You know, what do you recommend?" And the default can be for the helpful manager, for the helpful leader, is to take that on and to say, okay, in some way, shape or form, to take it away from that individual so they no longer own it, and then it goes onto the shoulders of the manager or the leader. So it is important that you can have a conversation about it. Fundamentally, they owned it when they came in, and they own it when they leave.
And in defence of managers, and I've been one who acts in that way, hearing about something and then thinking, right, I need to save the day now. Yeah. I need to come in and rescue this person, take their issue that they want to sort, give them advice. Yeah. We sometimes call it an advice trap of giving our own solution. And it's coming from the right place, though. Right, the intent to care is coming from the right place. What's different about the care that you're giving as a coach? You've told us, you know, that the person that we're coaching or the person that we're having a coaching conversation with keeps hold of that issue. Yeah. But how's the care side different? How would you characterise that?
Yeah. So I think we do in the same way that a manager or a leader, and to be perfectly clear, I've done that too, you know, and I do still do it. The intent is a really positive one. The intent is to help. The intent is to free somebody else's load, if you like, and to help them and to smooth their way forward. So it comes from a really positive place, and that's not necessarily helpful for you as a manager or a leader, because you get one more thing on your shoulders or on your list to do, and it's not helpful for them in terms of their ability to grow and to understand that yes, I can do that, because otherwise you've got almost a bungee rope situation. You know, sort of somebody comes back again and again, and you're the answer for it. In terms of, and I'm very conscious there, you asked me a different question, the we care piece. You know, what is that and how does that translate? Well, what it translates into is a genuine caring and a belief in the potential of the individual that you're working with. You want them to understand what it is they want to do or achieve and get real clarity about that. And you want to support them to get to where they want to get. So you provide what can feel like a very caring space. You're very present with them. You listen very attentively. You summarise back to them to show that you've heard and to show that you care. But fundamentally, the difference is we don't care and take it here. We care and let that person hold it.
So we've already covered in your description of care there, you know, caring for the person, not generating a dependency on us as the coach or the manager having that conversation. You've mentioned potential, and I think that's perhaps the first. I don't know where we start on this model. There are 4 aspects, but good a place as anywhere to start, maybe. Yeah. We believe in their potential. Yeah. Their potential for what?
Yeah. Their potential to do what it is that they need to do, or figure it out for themselves. Who knows what their potential is? You know, the potential can be limitless, and there's a magical thing that happens when we do really believe in somebody, is that they can't help but start to think that they could do it, or that their potential is greater than they had the ceiling that they were self-imposing, if you like. So for me, that's a key point, and I'm not alone in this. As you know, we work with a number of very experienced coaches and trainers who all sort of feed into this, and this in and of itself comes from other fields and unconditional positive regard and yeah.
How's it going so far? You're listening to a podcast from Management Futures. I'm Hugh Reynolds, and today I'm talking to top coach and thought leader in the world of coaching, Tim Cox. We're talking about taking on a coaching mindset, and I'm about to ask Tim his next question. And this is something that I found very challenging when I first learned about a coaching approach, this belief in potential when I don't know what the outcome is going to be. So, when I hear things like anything is possible, that's true in that, with the potential that this person holds, they can turn their hand to anything they want to or anything they've got the resource to around them to achieve. And I started limiting myself really in terms of where we're getting to, the target, and how do I believe in something that I don't know where it is yet.
Yeah.
And something that helped me get around that concept of believing in the person was thinking, well, it's not my place to find that target or that goal, rather. And that we might work with a client in order for them to talk through what they want to achieve. Yeah. And it's that limitless possibilities of things that could happen within the coaching conversation. You can probably hear in my voice I'm a little bit cautious, a little bit sort of sceptical still. And this perhaps goes back to my training as a teacher and as an advice giver. Not really, wanting a curriculum that we teach to. Wanting some structure that I'm imposing on this other person. I mean, these are all things that I can see as a coach aren't going to be so helpful. Help me out here, Tim. When someone comes to you with a sceptical question like that and says, "Really, Tim? Anything? Are they really capable of anything?" What's your response?
So I don't know. is the honest answer. So it would depend very much. I was very. You went on to explain it a little, but a question that popped up for me was, what's your caution? So I think would be to understand more of where the caution might be coming from, and also to be really realistic with it. I mean, one of the things I love about a coaching approach is that fundamentally it's real, it's practical, it helps people can move forward from it. So if somebody turns up and says, I want to be General Secretary of the United Nations, and please can we make sure that happens by the 1st of April next year. It'll all combine with a nice tax year and it'll be a nice break, and I see myself in that role. There would be something to check out there, to check out on the ambition and how realistic that might be. So it's not a suggestion that you can do anything at any point in a squeezed timescale, but it's more about unlocking avenues that might not have been thought possible. So the idea of a good coaching conversation is to open things up, help somebody to think differently, explore differently, understand where they might be narrowing their ambitions, where they might be narrowing the opportunities or the routes or the pathways, to explore that, find out what's legitimate and what actually is maybe just an assumption that they're holding. And legitimate for the client that you're working with. That's right.
I'm wondering, if I adopt that goal for myself of becoming, Secretary General of the United Nations, along the way,
I can see you in that role.
Thank you, Tim. Yeah, I quite fancy it. And along the way of exploring that want or that goal, all sorts of things would happen. In my life, in our conversation, possibilities around what I'm capable of that I'd not discovered yet in myself. This is all up for grabs and up for discussion in that space. Am I getting closer to what I hope I am? Because I want to be an evangelist for coaching, and I've benefited from it. Am I getting closer to understanding what we mean when we say we believe in potential and we believe in those possibilities.
So you'll be the judge of that. I'm so tempted to throw a question back at you, but I know that's not necessarily the purpose of the conversation today. I think there is potential in an individual when they come to you. Now, what they want to do with that potential and where they want to take it and where they want to explore it, well, that's for them to find out. Our role, if we're taking a coaching approach, is to facilitate that conversation, is to facilitate that exploration. So, in the same way that if you were facilitating a team or a group of people, you might be flip charting and whiteboarding and sticky noting all sorts of ideas and possibilities. Well, you might even use some practical tools like that with somebody, but you're effectively just looking to open it up in various ways.
So that's where we're heading. And we've talked about we believe in their potential. We've said a little bit about resisting giving advice, and being in that sort of teacher or director mode of saying this is how you do it.
Yeah.
And we've not yet talked about a third one, as I've written them down here, a third principle behind this coaching mindset, which is that we meet people where they are.
Yeah.
So they're only in one place. There's lots of places they could go.
Yeah.
But we're meeting them in that place.
Yeah.
Now that, when I first read it, I thought, well, of course, because we get on the Zoom call, or we go to the office, or we find, a pleasant place, like the sofa to sit and chat. Of course, we meet them where they are.
Yeah.
But there's more to it than that, right?
Yeah. I think there is more to it than that. I mean, part of it is, if we meet someone where they are, we've got to understand where they are, or at least we've got to get a picture of where they are, and for them to share where they are. And of course, they share where they are in different ways. So it might be through questions, and they might actually verbalise where they are, where they see themselves at the moment, what has happened, where do they see themselves going next. And actually, though, if our intent is to meet them where they are, then we have to notice where they are as well. So where are they in terms of their energy? Where are they in terms of their mood? Where all these things, so that we can get alongside them. We can become in tune with them, which helps us to have a deeper conversation. It helps them to trust us because they recognise us more, because we are meeting them and taking note of them. So I think on a number of levels it works. And it's important for the logistics. You've got to turn up at the right time in the right place as well. So physically to be there is important.
Yeah, but not expect them to be something different from the get-go of the conversation.
No.
Because we're meeting them in perhaps the mindset that they have at the time of that conversation.
Yeah. Absolutely, and this will of course change. So you might meet somebody in 1 week, and they might have a certain role. They're a certain age, they're a certain person, certain background, and that's where they are, if you like. And then you might meet them 4 weeks later. Yes, they'll be a bit older. They might be the same role, same background, and they might be in a different frame of mind because of something that's happened or not happened. So again, you've got to meet them where you are. So there are some assumptions that we have to have in life, and we need to watch our assumptions when we're taking the coaching approach.
Something that strikes me there over the course of a coaching relationship is that you don't turn up to meet somebody, meet them where they are, and then fix that fact about who they are or where they were in that first conversation.
Yeah.
Because in the next conversation or next series of conversations, they may be positioned mentally in lots of different orientations. Yeah. So, what I've taken from what you've just said there is that we need to be on guard here, or always using these principles, not just seeing them as a one-off that we do when we meet somebody and form a coaching relationship, but we keep needing to bring these back to the table or back to our mind and have clarity in our mindset as we're approaching this.
I think that's exactly right, and that point there where you said in my mind or on my mind, that's the key. So the mindset, to be mindful of the mindset. On guard, less helpful, I think, but to have it, be mindful of it, absolutely. That's the key part.
Yeah, and to unpack the on guard. On guard is sort of, I'm in a sort of fight or flight state. Whereas actually tuning in to somebody where they are and not being anxious about doing that because you can relate as people. And that's where you're starting from in each interaction.
And that's exactly right. I mean, when we train people to be coaches, to qualify as coaches, some of the questions that you might find is, second session, what sort of questions would I ask in the second session? Where we would go, and of course the answer is, I've no idea. I mean, you might say, how are you doing?
Yeah.
but aside from that, we don't know. And to whilst it's absolutely the right thing to do to perhaps generate a list of helpful questions, to know what helpful questions might be, to actually believe that we can come in with a script, as it were, is not meeting them where they are. That's so meeting our needs.
You yourself are keeping those possibilities, that potential for the conversation open every time.
Make it real. We're meeting people where they are in their real world.
I'm just going to restate for my own purposes what we've covered so far in this model of the coaching mindset. So we believe in their potential, and we keep believing in their potential as we go along, and we resist giving advice. We meet them where they are every time we connect with them. And the fourth one is that we're curious. Now, I'm a curious person. I'm quite a nosy person, actually. I want to get behind these things. Like, why did you do that? When you're telling me about your situation, I'm often, things that my mind is whirring, thinking, oh yeah, they must have done that because of this. So is that the kind of curiosity, this is a question that fascinates me, is the kind of curiosity that coaches are allowed to display. Tell me about this coaching curiosity.
So I think the curiosity piece is really important. And the phrase that comes to mind at the moment is, in service of what? So is it in service of your curiosity as the coach or the manager or the leader taking a coaching approach? Is that what it's in service of? Or is it in service of helping the person to understand what's going on here? So I think that's an important distinction. It should be in service of them. I think it's also a note and a reminder for us to remain curious, to be open to what's going on here. We can chunk things quite quickly. So if somebody comes to us with as a manager, if somebody comes to you with a specific issue or a challenge that you might have seen many times before or have experienced ourselves, we can make judgments and we can make calls and we can theorize, and there may be something in that, and equally and as likely, if not more likely, there isn't a lot in it actually, and it's far better for us to help them to understand what's going on.
So satisfying myself and giving myself a clear story, or interpreting this in a way that satisfies me, is helping my agenda of understanding the world or making sense making in the world. Whereas what, as a coach, I should be up to is helping my client or my colleague, helping them make sense for themselves.
Exactly. So that they're owning it. To come back to the sort of the overriding principle there. I think we can be real. So particularly as a manager or a leader, if somebody comes to you and says, "Look, this has happened. What should I do?" Well, we could shortcut, and we may need to actually. We may need to come back to, well, here's some ideas about what you might be able to do. Having said that, though, to pause to say, well, look, it sounds like I've heard this situation before. Could give you some advice on, and let's just check my assumptions here. Let's explore it a bit. Take 2 minutes, explore it, help them, because often your advice that you were tempted to give is quite quickly found out,
Yeah.
as not being relevant and not being helpful,
Yeah.
and more likely to take them off on the wrong path.
Are you pausing your coaching mindset at that point, or are you still within the coaching mindset when you're doing that clarification or sorting out what assumptions are being made or things? Are you stepping out of the coaching mindset, or are you still within it?
No, I think you're still within it. Mm-hmm. So you're still within it. So you're still believing in the potential of the mm-hmm. individual. You're merely you're facilitating the conversation, and you're moving it to a slightly different place. Mm-hmm. So that's more what I just described is more relevant for manager as coach, leader as coach, than it might be for an executive coach. Mm-hmm. And nonetheless, there is something about being real again, so okay, so I've heard that before. I can make some assumptions. In fact, I probably have made some assumptions about it. Let's hold off on that. What's going on?
I'm interested there that you say I probably have made some assumptions, but you're not airing those, or they're not sort of going into the mix and getting confused with some of the things that are coming back from the person you're coaching. And it sort of draws us to a conclusion really in this model, because as well as being curious, we're also judgment free. And I was thinking, I'm always making assumptions, and it's really difficult to stop judging in my head. How do you do that? How do you keep judgment free?
So you probably don't.
Mm-hmm.
Is again the answer. I think with some of the mindset principles, they're aspirational, so they help to keep us on track with it. So we will make judgments, we will make assumptions about what people are saying. The important thing is to remind ourselves that that's not what it's about. Recognise it, but in service of them, let's keep that judgment out of this arena, because that's not necessarily helpful right now.
That's really helpful, Tim, and really helpful to understand that it's not that you are envisioning a perfect model applied every time. You've got aspirations and things we should be mindful of in our mindset, and not to beat ourselves up if we start to judge, but be completely mindful that those judgments aren't necessarily going to help, and aren't going to necessarily help this kind of conversation that we're making here.
And I think that's it. And you come back to we care, they own it. So we care enough to hold our judgments back, right? So that, because they're not the important things. The important thing really is, how do they see it? How do they view it? What works for them?
And we keep it real. I mean, that's a big thing to come out of the last few minutes for me as well, is that these are real conversations. These are, and we do this in our training, in our intensive coaching skills courses, everywhere we run a program. We're keeping it real. It's not role play. People are bringing real issues in, and these are live conversations in the wild that we have. And when we put it on paper as a model, we've got to recognise that we're going to make that real, and we're helping people to bring those conversations alive. Mindful that sometimes it can look a little bit, not dead, but it can look a little bit stale on the page. But we're having real rich conversations in the real world.
Well, I think that's right. Context is everything, isn't it? I first bumped into Management Futures in 2000, actually attending a half-day workshop, and I was hooked into the style of it because it was practical. Because it was like, okay, here's some principles, and there were some principles there on that day. Here's some principles. What does that mean? What do you make of that? How does that fit in? Where does that play? And then taking it away and into my leadership at the time, what really got me hooked into it was that it worked.
Thanks so much for lending us your ears, and thanks for joining us within this coaching mindscape. We really hope it's given you added confidence to take on the coaching mindset more often. We really love sharing our work in podcasts, so do check out the resources section of our website at managementfutures.co.uk. You'll find loads of really lovely and useful things there. And it's also a great place to come learn and connect with us if you're interested in exploring how we can help you and your people connect better with each other. Again, just go to managementfutures.co.uk and check out the team page for all our details. Until next time, take care.